Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ken and Mark Show.
Or how I learned to stop worrying and just call it football.
That's right, the show where the opinions are made up and the shape of the balls does not
matter at all.
There we go. How you doing, Ken?
Not bad. Football is back.
The EPL returned to action last Thursday. That's the big news of the week, isn't it?
Oh,
how you feeling?
Yeah, there's nothing else happened. Yeah. Well, considering I'm happy it's back, but the football that I watch, unless you're a Manchester City fan,
we'll get to the football in a minute because
there's some rust to shake off.
There's some rust happening all over the place. I had something clever to start off the show, and then I forgot what it was. So,
well, I'm sure you'll remember it.
At some point I will, and I'll just go back and splice it in, just like it.
Okay.
Like it never happened. Yeah. So we'll say that it's now time for the Whirlwind Week in Review. There we go. All right. So, like we said 30 seconds ago,
yes.
the EPL is back, Ken. EPL
is back, baby.
It's back. I guess I feel good about this. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm glad it's back because weekend mornings are now no longer boring as hell. But I'm not sure I loved what I watched, Ken. Not sure about that.
You got to give it a little bit, man. They got to shake off the rust.
Not feeling it at all.
Some teams were able to shake off the rust faster than others, but I got a feeling the next couple weeks we'll be back. And there's a lot to be said about not having crowds. It really does lift some teams up.
It does for some teams. So where do you want to start?
Well, we can start with the day one. Coming back, we had Aston Villa versus Sheffield.
Yes.
0-0 draw. Then the marquee City versus Arsenal, which gave us. It was actually.
That one went exactly the way I thought it did. Exactly the way I thought it would.
I love Arsenal. Defender goes down, and in comes everyone's favorite comedic hero, slapstick genius, David Luiz. Not only does he put his goalie in a horrible position to give Raheem Sterling a goal, he then proceeds to get a red card, get a penalty for City.
How many?
And then get sent off.
How many own goals are you going to give up this week, Devin?
Oh, it was so horrible.
That was exactly what I expected from Arsenal.
But why is all right, David Luiz, love you, man, but he needs to be playing for Aston Villa right now or a Watford. His time at a big club is gone.
If that.
If I was Norwich, I'd take a flyer on him.
Yeah.
But he's not. He is no longer a top. He's no longer a top defender. He's done.
No. No, he's not even close.
No, it's his days are. It happens to everybody. Them days are gone.
And really, we knew this when he joined Arsenal. We knew that.
Yeah.
We knew that he shouldn't have been there when he joined. And I don't know what is wrong at Arsenal that it's taken them this long to figure it out.
Well, that's why that manager they had that got him is no longer there.
Is no longer there.
I mean,
but I guess I don't see why the manager that's there now that knows what good football looks like, because he used to coach at a really good football team, insists on playing him. I don't get it.
I was watching this video on the TIFO channel on YouTube, and I think they tried recreating Chelsea's championship season by running the back three and having David Luiz as the center defender be more of like almost a sweeper.
Yeah.
But that was back when he was more athletic and had better players around him at Chelsea. And it never panned out for him. So it's you can't go back 3 or 4 years and get that guy that from that period. He has aged. He has had injuries. Like, he's not going to perform as well. And plus, he does not have the Chelsea team around him at Arsenal. So, you can't recreate that. And I think that was the main problem with David Luiz.
Yes.
He needs damn good players around him, especially at this age.
Especially at this age. And, well, like you said, it happens to everybody at some point. It's just happening to him over a long period of time and in a very highly visible club.
If he's smart, he goes back to Brazil. He goes back to Santos or Flamengo or something. But his days in the EPL as a top defender they're just done.
Yeah.
I said moving on. The second day gave us Norwich. Southampton started off. Southampton Norwich. Sorry, but you're going down, sugar. You're going down. They lose 3-0. Then the marquee matchup, Jose Mourinho hosts his former club, Manchester United, to some of the worst football I have watched.
What was the over-under on how long it would take Jose to give an absolutely absurd press conference after he came back from break? Was it less than one game? Because here we are.
I was hoping VAR wouldn't have overturned that penalty late in the game, just so we could see him self-emulate after the game was over. Because that would have been beautiful. Tottenham looked more of the team, which is weird to say. There were moments with United. They looked like an Ole-led team. That's the only thing I can say. Is when I was watching, there was no plan. It was just go out there and play, guys, and that doesn't work. You've got to have a plan.
So tell me, there's 8 games left, right? For United, are we going to see a change of managers at the end of this run?
We have I'm sorry. If we make Champions League, there is a better manager sitting there, waiting. If we keep
on his couch, on his couch, not doing anything.
We will lose players that would normally come to us because of Ole. And he's got to figure out a way to get Pogba and Fernandez on the field at the same time.
Yeah, how can he not do that? How is it possible you can't do that?
NFL teams figure out how to have 2 great wide receivers on the field at the same time. It's possible. You do it all the time in other sports.
And a great running back at the same time. They've got to figure it out.
I know it's just getting Pogba and Fernandez. We need to get those 2 working together. When those 2 working together would be a midfield that would be so fire, and it would cause the defense almost have to collapse on them, leaving our forwards free to roam around.
Right.
He's not managing it right, and I'm tired of it. And he'll probably win enough games, get in the Champions League, and they won't fire him. And somebody else will get Pochettino, and that team will go on and do great things.
That's the danger here, right? The danger here is that United is going to win enough games that the board's going to be
enough.
I think he deserves another shot at it.
My prediction is we end up 5th and maybe even 6th. Like if we will wind up 5th and the band is upheld against City, so they're thrown out, and the 5th place team goes in the Champions League, that being us. Or even crazier, we end up 6th, and I think there's a way for the 6th place team to even enter, where they we would end up in the Europa League or Champions League because they won the EPL, they won the League Cup, which guarantees a team in the Europa League. And since they're banned from all European competitions, there's a way for almost like the 6th place team to get in there too. It's something just ridiculous. And this team right now is good enough to get into the Champions League, but Ole needs to start managing. I mean, watching that match, there really wasn't much talk. I mean, it was frustrating to watch. It was waiting 3 months, and you're on pins and needles, and then you get is just a damp squid. It's just like, I waited 3 months for this.
Oh, I know how you feel. I am well aware of how you feel.
But it's just, I mean, one thing that's weird with all these games coming thick and fast, like the next day, like Arsenal started us off, but then Arsenal again was 2 days later. Arsenal was playing again.
Right.
Who then Arsenal not only loses to City, which you could expect, but then I don't know if you watched the Brighton and Hove Albion and Arsenal match.
No.
Brighton and Hove beat Arsenal 2-1 on a do yourself a favor, look up those highlights.
Okay.
Oh my God! It's 94th minute, like basically like the buzzer beater. It's I think they like there's 4 minutes extra time, but you know if you're in attack, you can get the clock, the ref will still let you have it. They have that final shot, and it's like 94 minutes 36 seconds, and they score the winning goal basically to win the game against Arsenal. It was like, yes,
it is the most Arsenal thing to ever Arsenal.
Oh well, most Arsenal. I mean, Mikel Arteta almost looks like he's in over his head. Watford, Leicester went 1-1.
Well, okay, so remember how we said, what was it last year? It was either last year or the year before that Arsenal either needed to change managers or change the team.
But yeah,
I think they need to change the team.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the manager.
Changing man, it's that the whole team is just sell off. You have your aging veterans are showing their age.
Yes, and not only that, all those guys that became problems under Arsene Wenger did not get any better once he left. Whatever change they underwent under Arsene Wenger, it stuck. And they're not any better.
The problems under Wenger, they were problems under Wenger. Now then they were problems under Emery. Yeah. Under Emery, and now they're problems under Arteta. So it's like,
right. We know where the problem is. Yeah.
There's a set of about 5-6 players that need to go, and some of them are fan favorites, but they're not helping. They're sometimes you got to get, it's addition by subtraction. Sometimes you got to cut that cancerous player out, because if he's got his head down and he's not believing in what the manager's saying, that bleeds into the younger players. I mean, that's just
and their strength right now is their younger players. Like Bakary Sacco, Nicola Pepe, those guys are playing really well. It's Kolasinac and Luiz and Ozil and all the usual suspects who we've said for 4 years now need a change of scenery.
And I would almost say I would get rid of Aubameyang and Lacazette. I'd clean house.
Yeah.
Because look, Arsenal, you're not going to be even if you are in Europe, you're going to be in Europa League. Look at what Chelsea's did. Like Chelsea, it was self-imposed by them forced to bring up some of their academy players and not be able to buy a bunch of older vets. Like, look at what they're doing now. Arsenal needs to take a page out of Chelsea's book, cut bait on some of these contracts, find some younger players, and you might not be in Europe for 2 years, but you could build a strength you can build a foundation in those 2 years that will make it to where you're constantly in the top four. Because that's what every team wants, is to be consistently in the top four, not in there a year, out of the year, in there. Nobody, like, that's Tottenham. That's, Wolves. That's, the Leicester. You don't want to be that. You want to be constantly in there.
Yeah.
Leicester, Watford 1-1. West Ham lost 2-0 against Wolverhampton, which is really good. Crystal Palace, they beat Bournemouth 2-0. And then, let's see. Then the big day on Father's Day, Newcastle beat Sheffield United 3-0. We had some goals there. Chelsea beat Villa 2-1. And the game everybody waited for, televised on NBC, the Merseyside Derby. 0-0 draw.
So, okay. I have a couple of things to say about this. Okay, so, first of all, apparently, this was the most watched EPL game in Britain. I don't know if it was this season or if it's, like, in recent history, but for some reason, that's what everybody chose to watch. Second,
that's because it was televised. That's because in Britain with this COVID-19, they're televising. They're over there's blackouts everywhere.
Because it took the blackouts out.
All the blackouts are gone. Okay, so that's probably why it was most watched. Because with all the blackouts lifted, the nation can then watch the game.
That explains it. Okay. Number two, what did we see? I saw basically a continuation of what was happening before the break. And that is a team that's just kind of run out of gas. And they're not able to refresh themselves because their attacking talent is limited to two guys. And this is what the most frustrating thing to me over the weekend was the announcement that Timo Werner is headed to Chelsea. After a year and a half of Liverpool being associated with this guy, talking about how they're going after him in the winter window, talking about after a year and a half of that, to get the announcement that he's going to Chelsea and then watch an anemic Liverpool offense with absolutely no offensive options outside of Sadio Mane and Mo Salah, who didn't play in the game. Like they have nobody to generate offense when those two guys are not on. And I don't understand. The only way it makes sense to not sign Timo Werner is if somebody at the club knows that there's something better in the summer window, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's got to be something. Somebody knows something that we don't know.
I hope so.
And because I believe with the money, because it's not a money issue now with Liverpool Champions League champions. The money's there. So it's not a matter of money. It's a matter of, I believe, there was something up with that player that you courted, you found out all this stuff. It's almost like there's something amiss that was like, because it was only 60 million pounds, they could easily went, okay, we'll give you 65. Like
it was hardly anything.
It wasn't like Chelsea was breaking the bank to buy Timo. It was
right.
There's something. There's something they know that we don't.
And I've been watching German soccer for a long time now. I've watched Timo Werner play football. he fits Liverpool perfectly. That is his style of play, all out press all the time. That's what he's good at. And I don't understand just letting him walk. I don't get it.
Well, I think Jurgen's the type of guy that he'll court you, but he's not going to he's a team. If you can't buy into the team, he's the type of person is like, I will court you and I will, I'll try to bring you into the love. But
yeah,
if I have to continually do that, then maybe you're not the type of guy I want in the locker room. If I have to constantly, if you're not going to meet me halfway, if you're not going to meet me halfway on anything,
from
what I predict. Oh, so
sorry. From what I've read, the holdup over the last year and a half has not been on the players' end. It's not been on the manager's end. It's been some deal with Liverpool ownership being unwilling to spend money after the Van Dijk purchase, which I don't get, because that purchase is the sole reason you are Champions League champions and about to be EPL champions for the first time in 30 years. It doesn't make sense.
You are talking about the Boston Red Sox. I mean, the Fenway Group. Yes. I think they might. The thing about it is you don't have to play Moneyball. I mean, Moneyball. Analytics has worked its way into. I mean, look at Southampton. I mean, their analytics are top secret. I mean, that stuff's like they have a nuclear football, for Christ. You know what I mean?
But they still haven't won anything.
But they still haven't won anything. But if they're looking at the money they make, there's something that one thing that Liverpool has to understand. Yeah, when you're 7th or 8th, buying a player like Salah, you're going to get a good deal on him because the team that you're buying him from sees you as a 7th or 8th. They know you don't have as much money.
Yes.
When you're number one, teams you're buying now you're buying from teams they know you're in first place. You've got a lot more money.
Yes.
The asking price is going to go up based on where you are in your league.
But we agree, right? But we agree that $60 million for a player of that caliber isn't really that much.
Of his caliber, that ain't nothing.
Yeah.
When you could turn around and, if you wanted to in 5 years, you could turn around and sell him for 110, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
If he progresses as much as he should.
I mean, the guy's what, 22, 23 years old?
If that,
come on.
it seems
and your stars are 30.
I would not be surprised if Timo Werner goes to Chelsea, does the De Bruyne and Salah route and doesn't make it, goes to Italy and then gets signed by Liverpool. You're saying Vegas had a line on that, I'd put money on that. I have a feeling because where does he fit in at Chelsea? I don't see it.
He doesn't. Nobody fits in at Chelsea.
His style of play doesn't. His style of play does not fit into Frank Lampard's thing. But
no,
I don't know.
He's going to spend half his time on the bench anyway because Chelsea has 70 players. So what are they going to do? He's not going to play every week.
Let him out alone.
Maybe that was Jurgen's idea. Send him to Chelsea. Chelsea will pay for him. We'll get him on loan, and then we'll go that route.
Oh, that's so. But as of right now, the table we got Liverpool. I mean, I think what Liverpool's problem is, you're so far ahead. It's hard to get that. It's yours.
They're either out of gas or out of motivation. I mean, either way,
it's a little bit of both.
It looks the same on the field. Yeah, it looks the same on the field, but it's one of those two things.
you have some fixtures coming up that you'll win. It's just a matter of time. Okay, but we got Liverpool at 83 points. We got City at 63 points. You have a 20-point lead with 8 games to play. So let's just.
So it's still losable, is what you're saying.
Mark. Yeah, dude, I would laugh. I would. Oh God, I would laugh. I would almost get that tattooed on me. We got Man City, then Leicester City still hanging on with 54 points, and third,
I like them.
Chelsea with 51 points. United, who should have won that game against Tottenham, never mind, but is in 5th place with 46. Wolverhampton tied with 46 points. Sheffield in 7th. Tottenham in 8th. Crystal Palace in 9th. Crystal Palace on 42 points. Crystal Palace could sneak into a European spot with a couple of wins. Crystal Palace.
Yeah, they could.
In this season, would you put it past them? Would you be surprised if they ended up? Would you?
Well, okay, yes. I would be surprised if they ended up fourth for this reason. I expect Wolverhampton to get that Europa League spot.
Because I would say from 5th to 10th is a 6-point gap. And all these teams are able United, Wolverhampton, Sheffield, Tottenham, Crystal Palace, and Arsenal, who's in 10th with 40 points. I would say all those teams are able to beat anybody and also lose to anybody.
Yes.
So that's going to be a hell of a ride.
Yes.
And if Manchester City's ban is upheld, that 5th place spot isn't a Europa League spot. That's a Champions League spot.
That's true.
Then the pack. I mean, Burnley's got 39 points. Let's look at relegation fodder. Norwich has 21 points. I mean, granted, they're only 6 points out of, they're 2 games and they're out of relegation, but it's just not looking good. Then you got Aston Villa with 26, Bournemouth 27, West Ham 27, Watford 28. And I think it's just those 5 teams. Brighton and Hove Albion with that win against Arsenal took them up to 32, and I think they're safe. I think you get 30 points, it's gonna be a fun slog. But
I think we're looking at Norwich, Aston Villa, and
probably Bournemouth, maybe the Cherries.
No. The other one, who's just above Bournemouth?
Who's just above Bournemouth?
Yeah.
We've got West Ham.
Yeah, them.
So you're saying West Ham, Villa, and Norwich?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see the Cherries staying up.
I think Bournemouth pulls it out.
I can definitely see that.
West Ham has kind of been primed for a disaster for the last 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, they're starting to become a yo-yo team.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Mark. Wednesday.
What?
I am so sorry. You have to play your boat. Yeah, Liverpool has to play their bogey team.
Who do we have?
Crystal Palace.
Oh, good Lord. We'll come out with a draw.
You are home. You are at Anfield though, so that's good. If it was at Selhurst, I'd almost chalk it up to a Liverpool loss. I don't know what it is about Crystal Palace of all the teams that just
it's Christian Benteke.
Snake bite you.
It's Christian Benteke.
It's
the revenge factor.
It's then you're at City.
Yeah.
Which that could be. I think that will be the type. That's going to be the title decider, depending on what happens with Palace.
Yeah.
Beat Palace, and then you go to City on July 2nd, and it's Wow, that's going to be.
We only need 6 points. So if we drew every game, we'd still win the league.
Oh, but you're gonna. But I'm saying the trophy is yours because let's say even if you lose Crystal Palace and you lose a city, this is your run out. You got Palace, City, Aston Villa, Brighton and Hove Albion, Burnley, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Newcastle. You can't win 2 of those games. You don't deserve to be champion.
I agree.
I believe you're going to win. I believe you win five of those. So it's in the bag. But the cool thing about it is you guys play a lot of the relegation guys. So Liverpool's going to have a big they're really going to decide who goes down. So it's going to be.
And we're also going to get those teams' best games because they're trying to stay up. So.
And I believe this draw against Everton is going to wake up Liverpool, and they're going to come out against Crystal Palace, and really just I think they're going to give it to them.
I thought the loss to Watford was going to do that, and it didn't.
I think coming back from the break and COVID, I mean, some teams came out like firing. I think it's hard. You have such a big lead. It's almost working against you having that big a lead. Like we're without even trying, we're gonna win 2 of these games. Like.
And I think that's a dangerous attitude to have, but I do think that's what's going on.
I think, and that's what Klopp has to fight against. And to me, it comes down to it's Wednesday's Crystal Palace game is going to be the big, like, how they bounce back from. I mean, I can't believe we're talking about a team with a 20-point lead who just drew against their biggest rival because in those games, you throw out all the records. Everton was going to give everything they could not to lose to you.
Right.
And Everton, that squad is pretty good. I mean, is it a championship caliber one? No. But they're scrappers. And they gave Liverpool all and ended up a draw. I guarantee you Everton winning that game being like, we're not losing. I don't care if you guys score a goal, but do not give up one. And that's what it felt like with that. So
here's what this feels like.
It's a done deal.
The fact that we're even discussing the idea that a team with a 20-point lead with 8 games to go could lose the championship says something about the history of this team over the last 30 years.
30 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It won't happen though. As much as I would love it, it's not going to happen.
We will soon find out.
Yes, we will. I have a feeling you beat Palace and then you go to City and you win the Premiership at Emirates Stadium, and I think
that would be something.
Backyard.
That would be something.
That's how it's gonna happen. I think Jurgen now with this draw against Everton, Jurgen now has the fire to get under. Like, hey, enough of.
I hope so.
He can finally get. I think he needed it. It's to me. This is the '85 Bears lost to Miami.
And something has to happen this summer to freshen up this team because we cannot simply roll into a new season with this squad.
He will. So it's hard up there because there's a lot of teams that were Chelsea's usually good. There's a lot of teams with money to spend. So I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting transfer window. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be compressed, and it's going to be late, and it's going to be bizarre. Okay. What else happened? Oh, NASCAR. I can't believe we're going to talk about NASCAR on the Ken and Mark Show.
This is I know that guy. I think we're not going to be talking about the Talladega race coming up, which is one of between my 2 favorite races is Talladega and Bristol, and Martinsville being the longest track and the shortest tracks. I hate they made these cookie cutter tracks in like the 90s and 2000s, like Texas and Lowe's Motor Speedway in Atlanta. These 1.5 mile fucking cookie cutter. Like, there's nothing fun about them. They're just, I mean,
there's nothing fun about
boring
NASCAR
up.
tracks. They're ovals. They're stupid.
But hear me out though. Well,
Yeah.
just hear me out. Bristol is a 1/2 mile. It's a 1/2 mile racetrack. It's basically banked like this.
Right.
And like in a video game, it was awesome. You had to set your car up just right. So you basically, for that 1/4 mile, you had to like, and then get into that corner and then like there's a lot of racing. Like, yeah, actually, you basically, if you don't brake right, you're right in the back of somebody. Talladega, you can go 200 miles an hour down a straightaway and pretty much keep your foot on the, like, and the turns are so wide, you can just stay pretty much flat out the whole time.
Yeah.
But all the other tracks, like there's no like Darlington, the Lady in Black, the famous turn 4 there. It was always like, you can't pass outside on turn 4 and people would try it and just get taken up by the wall. It was just designed that turn 4. There were these interesting little things, like at Pocono, it's a fucking triangle instead of, there was these unique things to certain tracks. But they got boring when they made these cookie cutter ones. This is the good thing I'm talking about NASCAR. I'm trying to give NASCAR a little good thing before we go to one of the worst things.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, we're not going to be talking about any of the races because I wanted to give NASCAR just a little bit of, some positivity before we go to the fucking what the fuck NASCAR. And so
before the anger comes, I wanted to say some positive things.
So NASCAR, the organization has decided that it is time, after, I don't know, when did it start? In the 50s? So after 70 years of stock car racing, it is time to take the racism out of NASCAR. Unfortunately, NASCAR, no one told NASCAR fans of this.
We can't spell racist without race.
Exactly. The racists do not want to take the racism out of NASCAR. There's a vested interest in keeping it there. So, last night? Last night, Bubba Wallace, who is the only black NASCAR driver in the top tier circuit right now, a member of his pit crew discovered a noose in his hanging in his pit area.
Correct.
This came a week. Was it a week after NASCAR decided to ban the Confederate flag from racing events? Yep. So this happened last night. Today, somebody rented an airplane to fly the Confederate flag over the track because it wasn't allowed on the track.
Oh my God.
I guess after you've been complacent for so long with racism in your organization, and you suddenly decide it's time for it to go, it's gonna be a little harder than you think.
Oh, there's definitely going to be backlash because 90% of the people that watch your sporting event are Southern racist. If you look at those crowds, it's pretty much vanilla ice cream with the speckles of beans.
You have created a particular space in which a particular set of people feel very comfortable, and now you've made them uncomfortable, and they don't like that.
Especially with NASCAR, it's a certain sport it grew up in the South.
Yes.
When you look at the voting block of the South, that's where the races were. It didn't expand until 90s and the 2000s. It didn't get past it didn't go above the Mason-Dixon line. It did not go past the Mississippi. It was a Southern
sport.
That's it.
Yeah.
we all know what happened. We all know the history of that part of the country, and hanging nooses. I mean, this is like going back in time, 1960s and shit. Finding nooses hanging. I mean,
yeah,
I love how Bubba's handling it. I love how Bubba's handling of it is. I love what Dale Earnhardt Jr. said. Just hope he goes out there and wins that race. Just to give it to. I mean, I want Bubba Wallace to win that race so fucking bad.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be so good.
I think we're gonna find out very quickly how serious NASCAR is about wanting to eliminate this from their sport, because it's not going to be easy for them.
If they want to survive as a sport, they need to be more inclusive. And for one, if you're telling me Bubba Wallace is the only black person that knows how to drive a car real fast, I'm sorry.
well, he's obviously not, because the world Formula One champion for the last 5 years is black. So,
so you don't think he could drive a big heavy car around in a circle? I mean, he drives at Monaco, for Christ's sake. Lewis Hamilton.
Yes, Lewis Hamilton is a brilliant driver.
I would love to see Lewis Hamilton. I would love to see Lewis Hamilton in a NASCAR. That'd be great. They should all they should all. If I was a promoter for F1 and NASCAR, I would have a Freaky Friday race where everyone switches, and all the NASCAR drivers go in F1 cars, and all the F1 drivers in the stock cars.
If you want to see F1 cars crashing left and right, put NASCAR drivers in F1 cars. If you bump wheels in an open wheel car, you are screwed. You're off the track.
And they'd be like, the steering wheel goes right.
I don't understand this right turn business. What's that?
I have to brake. I can't just. What is this? The pit stops are only a 0.2 seconds. What?
Yeah, 0.2 seconds. Standing starts. 0.2 second pit stops.
Yeah, that's so cool. F1 is so much cooler than NASCAR.
It is. I love F1.
I
do.
I mean,
it's fun.
They sound better. They sound like these space age. It's so.
That's great.
And when I mean, they can go. I mean, that being able to go from 0 to 60 in half a second. Like when they take those corners, they slow down. It's like.
It is ridiculous. And
I don't understand how you can be a spectator there at the race. I've never on TV. It's hard enough to follow them, but how do you sit in the stand and go?
I don't know.
I mean, I just don't understand that.
The thing with an F1 car is you have to drive it fast. It's actually safer to drive it fast than it is to drive it slow.
It's not designed to.
Because if you drive it slow, the wing doesn't give you any downforce, and you'll just spin out.
You need to have all the.
Have to go fast enough
to keep it
exactly
stuck to the ground. I mean, I love that. I love all the engineering that goes. I mean, it's just amazing. Love it. But yeah, but Bubba Wallace, fine. I love. I know how fashions, like music and fashion, everything comes around. There's 30-year cycles, they say. But can we not have the racism news cycle come around? Can we not have these come around? Can at some point we just say enough is enough?
Yeah. Can we retire it at some point and just say we're not taking it out of the closet again? That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so just tired of race. I'm trying to and then you got J.K. Rowling throwing her fucking hat in the ring against trans people. It's like, people, if you're above the age above 50, then shut up.
I will admit that I have no idea what that is about, but I also didn't realize that people still cared about what she thought. I thought she wrote 7 children's books 15 years ago, and I haven't heard from her since.
Well, yeah, remember.
I didn't realize she was still a thing.
There's a whole I mean, millions of people grew up on those books. Yes. I mean, there's a whole generation that for those 7 books, like that was pretty much their, I'd say, middle school through high school. I mean, they literally grew up with those books.
Oh yeah, yeah. That was an 9-year span.
And that made them feel better about themselves, because about being different and this and that. And you think she would be very inclusive, but when she started excluding some, like,
well,
that's a sports thing. I don't want to divulge aside. We're in the whirlwind.
What's the saying? Never meet your heroes, right?
Yeah, you find out they're fucking racist or transphobic or LGBTQ phobic. Yeah. I'm just so tired. Just let people live. I mean, if someone's gay, it doesn't matter to me. It does not affect me whatsoever what you do.
Yeah.
Like at all. I don't care.
So to ground out the whirlwind, Ken.
Yes.
Hockey is starting back up soon. As soon as the NHL as soon as the NHL picks a second hub city in which to host teams, apparently they have already decided on Las Vegas as the American hub, and they are choosing between
Vegas,
Toronto, Vancouver, and Edmonton as the Canadian hub. Edmonton seems bizarre to me because it's small, but I guess they have a brand new rink, so that's what they care about.
You want small because of COVID. If I was America, I'd go someplace really small for their not Vegas.
The issue, Vancouver and Toronto have advantages because they have more than one NHL sized rink, so they could play more games on a compressed schedule.
Gotcha.
And it just
are you telling me you're telling me Edmonton is just one rink and a bunch of moose?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I pretty much. Let's be honest, right? Like I'm not gonna lie to you about Edmonton.
leave it to a Winnipeg Jets fan to shit on Edmonton. Edmonton.
Vancouver, it is not, right? But
what have the Oilers done for me lately? Now, if they were doing Winnipeg, now that's a city I'd have all them matches. Why aren't they in there?
I would love to have it in Winnipeg. It's just
why is Winnipeg one of the choices?
They have the smallest rink in the league, so by like 3,000 seats. So like their arena only seats 15,300, and the average NHL rink is the average NHL rink is 18,600. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have the smallest rink in the league, so that wasn't going to work out.
It doesn't matter if you're not playing with fans. If you're not playing with fans, what does it matter?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what they're thinking.
I mean, what is it? As long as the rink is the regulation size for an rink, you can have no stands. Like, no one's going to be there.
There was also some comparison of how many 5-star hotels each place had. I don't understand why you need a 5-star hotel to have
you just have a hockey tournament. The rest of their heads. They're grown men. Half of these guys are from Russia or Finland. Like, they grew up living in gulags and shit. I think they can handle a 3-star Motel 6.
These guys grew up staying in dorms for hockey tournaments over the weekend. Like, they don't care if it's a 5-star hotel or not. Nobody cares about that.
They just want to go play hockey and get paid. Who cares?
Yes.
No, I forget. And hockey's doing the same thing as the NBA, right? Just doing a tournament.
Essentially, yeah. They're starting with a 22-team playoff, which is like 2/3 of the league, or 20.
Why not
a 24-team playoff? So, 75% of the teams in the league made the playoffs.
That's awesome, dude. Is Winnipeg in it?
Winnipeg and Chicago made it. Under normal circumstances.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Under normal circumstances, Chicago would not have made the playoffs. So,
but we're in.
Found a way to engineer them in.
Don't count us out, baby. And I can't wait for I can't wait for is MLS has decided to hold a World Cup structure tournament to find out for their league, and that to me it sounds very interesting.
I also heard
wait to see that.
I also heard today that the Orlando Pride dropped out of the She Believes Cup because several of their players tested positive for coronavirus. So I'm not sure how well any of these tournaments are going to work. That's something like 12 University of Iowa football players have tested positive already. There was a school that yesterday sent all their football players home because they had something like 20 positive tests among the players alone. So I don't know if we're going to have college football or not. I have no idea.
I'm tired of celebrities and people I've been watching on TV go around saying, like, all right, this coronavirus stuff, like, it's not as bad or whatever. Okay, I understand if you're young and you're healthy and you get it, you might get a mild form of it. But it's not about you. It's your ability to spread it to other people that aren't as strong as you.
Right.
That could just because you're young and you could get it and be sick for a little bit and have a couple coughs. Well, you could go around and give it to a person that might be immune, might be your same age, but have some immune deficiencies, and you could kill them. Like I'm seeing certain people on TV talk about, like, we need to just go out there and just pretend like the virus isn't even there. It's like,
there you go again, like thinking about other people.
That's why I can't say, like, New Zealand, New Zealand got their cases down to 0 and then had a national emergency when 2 cases popped up.
Yeah.
2. It's like,
some people decided to take this seriously, and we did not. And that's kind of that's kind of how it went.
Well, our government decided when our government decided, sorry, still in the whirlwind sports. Okay.
All right. So this is going to wrap up the Whirlwind Weekend Review.
Weekend Review.
Yes.
All right. So.
Okay. So. All right. So we're running. Actually, we're running a long time here. So.
Okay.
Love it, hate it, Kenny. What do you love this week? Right. What do you hate? Slam them together for me.
What do I love this week? There are some things. I love the fact that, I know I said before, but I love that football is back, that I love that the NHL, the NBA, things are starting to come back. Maybe nothing's going to be normal for a year or two until we get the vaccine.
Yeah.
But the fact that I could wake up on a Saturday and put on some live football. One thing I don't like with NBC Sports, get rid of the goddamn crowd noise. That's not real. I don't care.
God. It's actually worse than the Bundesliga matches. Like Bundesliga matches, it's sort of subdued and you can kind of hear in the background, but it's not overwhelming. I turned on NBC Sports Sunday, and you think you're playing before like 80,000 people. I can see the stands are empty. It just looks silly.
Oh my God. And we don't want to hear the players cuss. I'm sorry. The children these days hear their parents and other people out in life cuss. All right.
Who cares?
It happens.
Who cares?
They're going to be exposed to it. And if your child is that sensitive, well, he ain't going to go anywhere in life. So you might as well just, cut your losses on him. But I'm loving that with the EPL's coming back. I'm loving that sports is starting to slowly come back. I think that's going to give people more of a sense the depression levels will go down because it gives us something else to focus on instead of the everything Trump's doing and stuff like that. And I just love that. It seems like this is a step towards getting back to normal. And I heard a great thing that I think a school in Oxford could have a vaccine by September because they were actually ahead of the game because of all the research they did with MERS. They're like, we could have a vaccine by September, they're saying. because
MERS and SARS and all that stuff.
the mass research they did on that is carrying over to the COVID-19, and I'll love that all day. What do you love, Mark?
I I love K-pop fans. Ken, did you hear this?
Oh yeah, yes, I heard it.
So apparently there was an ode to racism. There was an ode to racism Saturday night in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to which certain people believed they had 1 million requests for tickets. So they rented a 20,000 seat arena, and they built an overflow stage outside, and they planned for 2 speeches. And at the time that speech number 1 started, according to the Tulsa, Oklahoma Fire Department, they had 6,200 people. Part of the reason for this was because K-pop fans decided to register for tickets online, and they did so by the tens of thousands. And so they reserved most of the tickets so no one else could get them.
Oh, I love it.
And that just made my day. That just made my day.
Oh, with seeing that and the fact that they took over 2 hashtags, like Whiteout Wednesday and white supremacy or something like that. And if you look up those 2 hashtags, you get nothing but K-pop and weird furry porn, and it's hilarious.
That's terrific. That's terrific. I love that.
I mean, and they're able to flood it so much that they drown out anyone else. Like if you look it up, you cannot get the races can't talk to each other because in between each thing is a thread of just 100 K-pop things or 100 furry porns. It's a thing of beauty.
K-pop fans, if you're listening, the Ken and Mark Show could really use your help.
Yes. Tweet us at Donald Trump or any white supremacists.
Oh no! Just tweet us at anybody, because there's so many of you. 2 or 3 people are bound to watch, right?
Use us, because there's no one that hates white people more than I do.
What do you hate, Ken?
Oh, well, I hate Donald Trump, and I hate the American educational system. Okay, for one, there's a little thing called Juneteenth that growing up in school, I never once heard of this.
Yes.
I never once heard anyone talk about it.
Yes.
So I did not really know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the president decides to hold his speech on Juneteenth, which then there's this upwell of knowledge about this subject and about what's it about, and about this general coming into Texas, because even though the slaves were freed, it took 2 years for the message to get to all the slaves.
Yes.
And that's where the Juneteenth comes from, on June 19th, I think 1865.
Yes.
One, I hate the fact that I didn't know about this. 2, the fact that Donald Trump decided to say, "I made it famous," filled me with such rage. Like, I thought I was going to go Super Saiyan. Like, I had a good 5 minutes of just
no one knew about this before I talked about it.
Just like, I just was sitting there, standing in my living room going, just waiting for my hair to go. You know, I was waiting for me to take my final form, like Frieza. Right. So I hate the fact that my educational system failed me on that. Yes. I learned about the Civil War, but they made it, being in Indiana, where the Klan is very famous, they really bought in that whole states' rights thing.
30 miles from here.
Slavery was sort of brought up, but there was a lot of states' rights stuff in my history books that I learned. It took seeking out certain podcasts and certain videos, educational videos, where they're like, I wasn't necessarily looking for that information, but then when it dawned upon me, I'm like, there's generations of people like me that never knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we didn't, not because are racist or something, but it was never told to us. If you're not told, if information isn't passed, you've been told to you, you don't know it.
Right.
And I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed of myself for not knowing about Juneteenth. But I'm also pissed off at the educational system that could very easily have told me about this, because we all heard about like the Battle of New Orleans that was fought. We all heard about that. It was fought a month after the Civil War ended.
Right.
But you couldn't have told us about the more important part of it.
Look, I don't think
what I hate.
I don't think that you should feel embarrassed that you didn't know. I don't know, because I don't know. I never think anybody should be embarrassed not to know something unless they actively try not to know it. If you don't know because you were never told and you were never taught and it never came up, why are you embarrassed about that? But now that you've learned about it, I think that the expectation is when someone asks you, you will pass on that knowledge.
Yes.
I think that's what people are asking for. Yeah, I mean, the fact that you didn't know, yeah, the educational system failed us. It really did.
Yeah.
So now that we know better, we now have an obligation to do better.
It should, to me, like more and more looking at it, it's like it should be a national holiday. Like,
and it may end up being. I don't know.
It really needs to be like, it needs to be a day of celebration for America getting something right.
That would be nice.
I mean, you can't tell a better way to celebrate something. Like it took us a while to get it right, but eventually we got it right. And yeah, even after I understand we didn't get it totally right, because even after that, we got KKK, you got Jim Crow, you got water hoses, people drink separate but equal, brown v. board of education. It's a bunch of stuff, but baby steps got us to where, I love the fact. I'm gonna go back to love real quick. I love the fact that a bill that the Civil Rights Bill that Martin Luther King and all of his supporters and people of his ilk helped get signed into law, helped LGBTQ people not be discriminated against in the workplace and housing. What Black people fought for freedom, just to be equal in this nation, that law has helped so many other people and groups of people that have been discriminated against. It's that 1964 bill is still helping in 2020. The Supreme Court knocking down. I mean, DACA got upheld. The fuck you, Trump, and LGBTQ plus. I can't remember. They make up too many. I'm sorry. LGBTQ. It's all I know. Plus, that's all I know.
LGBTQIA, I believe. I don't know.
I'm an ally. I quit changing the fucking letters on me. I'm trying to be an ally here. I'm glad that bill. I love that bill helped them get their equal rights. So that's I love. I'm gonna go back to. So what do you hate?
I just want to do a quick love. I love that white people discovered racism was real 3 weeks ago. I love that. Thank you, white people. It took you a while, but you finally come around. Thank you. I don't have a hate. I have a wait and see.
Okay. Ooh, I love this.
Now that we're getting back to sports, Ken,
okay.
I'm glad that we are getting back to sports because I like sports. Sports are fun. Sports are entertaining. It's cool to talk about.
Sports are always entertaining.
I enjoy it. But I think part of what makes this moment in history so special is because we had nothing else going on. Like people, the only thing for people to do was to watch the George Floyd video. because there was no basketball game on, there's no football game on,
There was
there's
no
baseball, there was nothing. People weren't going to work. There was nothing happening. So it was the only thing to do. And I'm a little afraid that once we quote unquote get back to normal, we're going to lose a lot of the steam of this whole thing.
A lot of the momentum of change.
Yes.
Because people will fall right back into, hey, look, I'm just trying to live my life.
Yes. Because it's going to be real easy to just turn on the game instead of whatever it is we're doing now. So
yeah,
I don't hate sports. I like sports. I'm taking a wait and see on the impact of sports on the current political climate. I hope that people have the ability to multitask on this one. I really do.
Why can't we have both?
Exactly.
But but historically in this country we can't have both. Wow. Way to really shit on my love, Mark.
I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
That's not what I meant to do.
I appreciate that.
I just said,
sure. Thanks.
But again, I really do.
Make me feel more guilty, like they already do.
I really do appreciate
I'm gonna do the rest
why people have discovered racism.
Do the rest of this I'm doing the rest of the podcast like this.
Oh, and kudos to Marcus Rashford for shaming the British government into providing lunch for kids this summer. Good job.
That's why. Apparently, most I was reading up on it. Like historically, like footballers are just told to shut up, play football. Like Laura Ingraham, I think, told LeBron shut up and dribble. Yeah, he was one of the. I think he's the first footballer to actually, Boris Johnson in his government said no. He pleaded and used his platform and got it extended throughout the summer for these kids to be able. It's like,
yes,
and everyone is just praising what he did.
Yes,
he took his platform and used it for good to help feed kids that need it. It's like that's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. What kind of government doesn't want to feed children? But conservative governments.
I mean,
because it feeds minority kids, and what we need to do is have minority kids starve to death so they quit sucking off the system. Because
our government would rather hold them in chicken coops than feed them. I mean, I think that's just where we're at.
History of that.
Yeah,
and we're a lot closer to those years than we are farther away from. Like people forget.
People don't realize that. People don't realize that. We're not. I know people. I know people that had to drink at separate water fountains. I work with them. I know they exist. So we're not that far. And I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Like there's a story here. There's got to be a way to, like, artists, movie makers. That's one way of curbing because as we get back to normal, I think filmmakers are going to be needed now, like especially independent filmmakers or even mainstream filmmakers. We're going to need them to really send some messages home. Because people, when they go back to normal, it's going to be sports and movies. They need to be bombarded with, don't forget about this. Don't forget these people that are.
I think that for the next 10 to 15 years, I think filmmaking is going to be really different. Between quarantine and this moment, I think we're going to get a lot of stories. We're going to get a lot of stories about isolation, and we're going to get a lot of stories about how people deal with this moment. And I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, and I think I cannot wait for the stories and the movies to come out, and I cannot wait. I hope Trump stays alive long enough to where there's movies about his presidency come out, and to where they're so.
Do we want to dignify that with a movie?
Oh, I do. I mean, I want to know. I want to know all the ins and outs. What happened? Like, it seems so ridiculous. Like, how many times on our podcast have we said, if you put it in the script, people wouldn't believe it?
Oh,
A producer would go back to the drawing board. There'd be red. Like, what the fuck is what were you taking when you thought this up? You know what I mean? No president would ever do this.
Think of it this way: somebody looked at the script for Dune and went, "Okay, yeah," but somebody would look at the script for the Trump presidency and be like, "That doesn't work. That wouldn't happen.
This is ridiculous.
It's just not a thing that we. Yeah, that's ridiculous."
we make comedies here, but this is ridiculous. Like, all right. It's too silly for even Adam Sandler to make a movie about it.
Oh yeah, no, you couldn't even do that. No. All right.
David Spade is Donald Trump. Okay.
Will Ferrell is Steve Bannon. All right.
Oh God.
That is going to wrap it up for us this week. Hopefully, YouTube does not have a length limit on videos because this one.
No, it doesn't, man. Have you seen some of the? Have you seen?
No, I
there's
avoid
like
YouTube
120-hour videos. I don't. I live on
it. You can contact us at the Ken and Mark Show at gmail.com or on Facebook or on Twitter at Ken and Mark Show. We're available for download on iTunes as well as Google Play and radio.com and at the original podcast page, the Ken and Mark Show.libsyn.com, which I will get back to updating very shortly as soon as we get back into the studio. Good times.
No problem. All
right.
In the studio, we'll still bring you some YouTube content.
We will still bring you some YouTube content. It may be a little different, but it'll be good.
Yeah.
So keep watching.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
good night, everybody.
Let's do it. Later.